Alrighty, so for this week, I was assigned to help you guys with problems 11 through 13 on the week 4 quiz access for chapter 2. So for problem 11, what it's asking us to do is to create an income statement for the business help today. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to input this right here. So the income statement is for the whole month. It's not just one day. So make sure you pick for the month ended in December 31st. Then next we have our revenues, which is usually the first item on a income statement. So we look at all the information right here, and we see that the only revenues we have are the consulting revenue. So we'll input that right there. And so our total revenue would be $27,040. The next is our expenses. So we'll input that. And then if we look up here, so let's look at our expenses. So right now our expenses are the rent expense, salaries expense, telephone expense, and the miscellaneous expenses. So we'll input all of those in here and make sure you're carrying the numbers over right from here. So that'll automatically calculate your total expenses right down here, which is $16,700. And then what you want to do is you want to subtract to get this number down here, the $10,340. You'll subtract $16,700 from $27,000. Because that's the formula for net income. So revenues minus expenses. And so we get that $10,340. So that should answer that question. Let's move on to number 12. Okay, so for this one, it's given us this information right here. And it's wanting us to create a statement of retained earnings. And so the two things that really go into this are our net income and our dividends. So the first thing you'll want to do is the statement of retained earnings is for the whole month. So it'll be for the month ended in December 31st. So make sure you select that. And then we add the net income. Actually, hold on. Let me back up. So the retained earnings as of December 1st is stated right here. So it'll be December 1st is $0. So like normal, we're starting at $0 at the beginning of the month. Then the next thing we'll want to do is want to add the net income to those retained earnings, which is 0. And so right here it says the net income is $10,340. So that makes it really easy for us, gives us the net income. So we'll input that right here. Next, we will subtract the dividends. So you'll bring the dividends down from here. So it's $6,040 down to right there. And then you'll want to make sure to select retained earnings December 31st. And that'll be the retained earnings as of December 31st for December. And calculated, that's $4,300. So make sure to remember this number, the $4,300, for the next question, because that'll be important. Okay, so question 13. So it's asking us to prepare a balance sheet for the same company. So as you know, balance sheets include assets, liabilities, and equity. So the accounting equation, right? So assets equals liabilities and equity. So as you input all this stuff, the total assets down here should equal the total liabilities and equity at the end, if you did it right. So for the first section, we'll pick assets. And so let's look up here. Let's see what our assets are. So right now our assets are cash, accounts receivable, office supplies, office equipment, and our land. So the office supplies are considered assets until they're used, right? And then the office equipment is considered an asset. They'll obviously depreciate, but right now they're an asset of 20,050. So we'll input all of those numbers down here, and then make sure this is total assets down here, and it'll calculate it to 117,200. Then we'll move on. Actually, before I move on, I don't know if I went over this, but make sure that you select as of December 31st right here. So the balance sheet is for December 31st. So next we have liabilities, so we'll select liabilities right here. And as we look through this list, the only liability we really have is accounts payable. So that makes it simple. We'll just put accounts payable right here, and that's 10,500 right there. And we'll move on to equity. So look up here and let's see what equity we have. So the first obvious one is common stock. So that one's 102,400. And then, like I said on question 12, you wanted to remember the retained earnings figure. And so for the retained earnings, that was 4,300. So yeah, perfect. So that'll bring us this total equity number. And then you'll also want to make sure that you're selecting total liabilities and equity down here. That'll be the total liabilities right here, added with the total equity right here, and that'll equal 117,200. And now that you've done that, to verify that you've input all the numbers correctly on each side, you should have 117,200 for both the total assets and the total liabilities and equity. But yeah, so I hope that helps. If you have any questions, let me know.